What does it feel like watching your mate walk out in front of 5,000 people?
Yeah, I think it's just there's a very sort of clear vision about, how far we want to take this, where it's not completely mapped out of how we're going to do it. But I think Danny's willingness to try stuff and my sort of relentlessness in making it happen, that's kind of where it's been a real success.
I did the O2 Academy the year before and church 6 months before that. So it was like, O2 Academy is the biggest venue in Leeds, where do we go next? There's a video of me on my Snapchat heading to the O2 going, one day I'll play here. Nah, I'm joking, but it's always nice to dream. Right, you imagine you're in Newcastle city centre and one person screams as loud as they can. You hear that person over 2,000-3,000 people around you. Imagine that times 5,000 all at the same time.
For you.
As you stepped out and you're like, oh my God, how is this even real?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's Danny T! Hi Danny, how are you, man?
I'm good.
What a pleasure. It's been so long coming to get you on here.
I know. We've just been speaking for about 20 minutes before this, though.
Yeah, but that's what you can't get straight into it. There's got to be a bit of foreplay. You get what I mean?
All right, okay.
That was the cunnilingus before
so
we get
good
into
to
the.
see you.
Yeah, hi Daniel, how are you?
It's been a while.
But it's not just you.
It's not.
Who have you brought with you?
This is my other half. This is my manager.
Introduce yourself, man.
I'm Casey, Danny's manager, and I say friend.
He reels me and he keeps me from getting myself in trouble.
What's it like being Danny's manager, Casey?
Fun, alongside challenging.
What's the challenges you come up against?
Mostly toning down his wild ideas.
Have you got any wild ideas that you've not let through recently that you can say on camera?
You delete a few Instagram stories.
Yeah, I mean, the post of you semi-naked before your show was that was a bit of a battle between us as to whether
that got censored, right?
No, it went up.
I won that one.
Okay, yeah.
I won that one.
But this is just sort of a routine back and forth between what's allowed and what's not.
I understand.
But it's all part of the fun craziness that is Danny's personal brand.
I get it. So, Danny, you're a DJ, I guess. That's you play music, right?
I do.
You press play on a deck.
Once, just press it and stand there and
leave it
to
your
hands a little bit.
But you've had last few years, for the people that don't know about Danny's kind of surge through popularity, especially recently, that you just sold out Leeds First Direct Arena.
Yeah. Floor standing sold out.
How many people's that?
5,500.
5,500 people, and you're just. I mean, you're a very good DJ, but you're just some fella.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think that's one thing that makes it more popular is the fact that I am just
some fella.
Could be everyone's pal. It's not like, oh my God, I've got to go see this superstar. It's like, I know what his dogs are called, which is part of the kind of how the followings come, because people just wanted to be part of the life that I was living at the time, which has got more sensible over the years, but the parties have got bigger and bigger, haven't they?
So, you're probably a pretty good role model for the local club DJ that is now taking it to the absolute nth degree, right?
Yeah, if they're really wanting to push themselves and go further, yeah, a lot say they want to, a lot don't really want to put in the work. They think it was easy. They think what they've seen is the route rather than what I've actually done that they won't have ever seen. They just think that they can, we can do that now.
I mean,
we can go there now. I'm not saying they shouldn't try, but they need to try hard.
No, I get it, man. Because
I'd love to see more people doing it. There's a massive gap for where I was 2 or 3 years ago.
And just to sort of build on that, I think, what people are sort of seeing the past maybe year or so is the culmination of what I've worked with you 4 years now. But even prior to me coming on board, that was, there's things that you did beforehand which has sort of come into a head now, and it's the culmination of all of those years of work.
I think the quote that I love that kind of relates to what you were talking about there is people grind away and grind away and grind away, and it takes them 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah. That's 100% true, but at the same time, I get so many messages like, "Oh, what's the easiest way?" or "What's the quickest way?"
What did you just get a question for the podcast as we started? Like, "Hey man, what do I need to start DJing?"
Yeah,
and you were
yeah,
like, "Well,
yeah.
some DJ decks."
Yeah,
But there's part of me that thinks that's like asking Floyd Mayweather, like, "What raps should I buy?" Like, you have someone who has moved themselves through this route, right? Like, ask them the questions that matter. So I, ladies and gentlemen, and fledgling DJs, I've strapped him down to a couch and I'm going to ask all the questions that everybody wants to know. So the first question I want to know, right? I'm a young DJ. Maybe I've got a couple of nights a week, local gigs, maybe support slots, a couple of warm-ups, maybe just about getting my first, main slot at an OK student night in a typical town in the UK. How do I get myself from there to getting booked in venues abroad, to having a genuine following on social media that care about me, to being able to release mixes that people listen to? Like, what do I do? Where do I start?
One thing people get really, really mixed up is social media and real world. Social media followings can look massive and not be big in the real world. Whereas some people can have quite small social media followings but be touring the world as known acts. Like, if you look at Craig David's got a massive social media presence now, but when he first came back, he had like 60,000 Instagram followers and was selling out a weekly pool party with 5,000 people in Ibiza. Like, that figure on Instagram is something that people focus far too much on instead of real live people. Like, you imagine they're desperately trying to get more and more online followers to try and share their music online. The value of that compared to, it might be different now, but when I first started, handing someone a CD that they would listen to and stay in their car for 5 years, even longer. There was a guy stopped me in the middle of the street in Bristol that still had my CD in his car from 2014. Like, that's so much more valuable. Like, investing in yourself is so much more valuable than focusing on a figure of Instagram followers, because I know people with 250,000 followers that are skint.
Man, so perfect example of that. I was talking about The Secret today, and The Secret is this book film where people, it's like, think it, see it, achieve it, but it removes the hard work from it. It's like, get off your ass and actually do the thing you need to do. And I think a lot of the time people use that quantifiable metric of popularity, which is how many followers do I have, or whatever, how many replies did I get? It's like, bro, if you don't add 300 tickets when you get booked by a promoter like myself, it doesn't matter. I do not give a flying fuck about how many followers you've got on Instagram. I want to know, if I book you for X many £100 or £1,000,
how many more people
are coming through the door? And if that figure ends up being around about like either zero or positive, as in you make me more money than you cost me, I will continue to book you because it's the freest money I'm ever going to make.
And just to sort of build on that, I think it's, if you, like, essentially social media following it's a number on a screen, but particularly for DJs, like, first and foremost, you are an entertainer. Your sole purpose as to why you exist is to entertain people. So therefore, rather than questioning, if you're going to start up and try and like build your brand or accumulate followers, look at how can I entertain people? How can I, start getting people to want to come and see me? Focus on the things that matter rather than, building up a metric that's...
Okay, so not focus first and foremost on
real
Instagram.
World,
but what is that for a DJ? Tell me. What's the steps?
Do different things in a club. If you get opportunities, take them and make sure people notice that something has changed, something's different about that platform. If they're watching a resident DJ and it's a resident DJ's job to keep it like this all night rather than smash it for 5 hours, because the crowd just wouldn't be able to hold it. But if you get an opportunity to step on, even if it's the last hour, if you make that last hour increase in just anything, just like the intensity, the music, everything about the room just increases, people will want to know, why is that different? And the more they're asking, why is that different, and they see somebody and they see their logo up on the screen, they'll be like, the last hour at so-and-so club was so good last night, it was so-and-so that were playing. They can tell one person. That one person takes 5 of their friends to go. They go away till 10 people. Straight away, that's 50 people that know that you're different to what they're used to. You're more exciting. So they want to go and see you more.
Why are you more exciting? Because I think you are, but I want you to define why you think you're more exciting.
I don't even know. I just...
Is it the turntablism? Is it the mixing in of tracks?
It's a bit of like the speed that I actually mix at. The fact, whether I do it live or not, the crowd don't care. The crowd care about what comes out of the speakers. But the speed and the flow of which I mix at means that there's never a lull. That's just my style. There's never a point in my set where the crowd actually get time to breathe.
Have you ever been, sorry to interject there, have you ever been a resi in clubs, like a proper resident?
Yeah.
How did you make that work? Because you've just identified, and you know, for some of the people that are listening that maybe don't understand music that much, but have been out clubbing, anyone will know when they've gone in and a DJ's just smashing the tits off it, like house tunes are getting played, and you think, this feels a bit fast, and you're like, yes, it feels a bit fast. It's 136 BPM.
Yeah.
Like,
it's got to build to that. And
so how did you do that? How do you do that before we get back to why you're different? Like, how do you make Danny T a resident DJ in a club that plays a 4-hour set?
Just networking. I was partying. I was just going out all the time.
What was the music like?
Started off with house music, but my first proper residency was an R&B night. Because I just wanted to play music. I just really wanted to play music. And it got to about 2 hours before the night was about to open, which I even had a cut of the night. Me and 2 friends got offered the Friday night at a club in Leeds, brand new, just opening. And an hour before I was like, oh wait, I ain't got any music. So I'm there like on iTunes, like buying Usher albums. And now I look back, it was the complete wrong music for the night that it was. But that was a stepping stone. That was an opportunity that I got, that I grasped and tried my hardest with. And that's what you got to do. Just take every opportunity. And there ain't a rule book. There isn't a rule book either. Like what works for me might not work for somebody else.
So we've touched on different because of the speed of mixing in and out. What else? What else makes your sets different? Why are people sitting up and listening to you?
You'll see in about 3 hours.
Yeah, for people again who don't know when we're recording, I've managed to get Danny not only here and get a podcast out of him, but I've then strapped him to a set of decks to get him to play at Quids in Newcastle later on tonight. But you know what I mean? Like, what else is it? Is it mic work? Is it the
mic work's got a lot to do with it. It has got a lot of. You can add so much personality with mic work. You can almost make the crowd want to challenge and better each other, which is like, right, I'm going to go crazier than that person without actually saying, can you go a bit crazier than them, please?
Knock each other's heads off, yeah.
Without going too far, you can control a crowd. You can literally you can have the crowd in the palm of your hands. Like you could literally I don't know. It's hard to describe because I just do it. I don't think about it now. It's come from. It's never been like, right, let me sit back and think, how can I do this? It's always been a slow progression of building up and that works better, so I'll use that. That works better, so I'll do that. And it's been a slow progression. So to me, it's not like, I don't think about it. It just happens now. So thinking back is actually quite hard to think. How could I do? I won't be.
I'm asking you to unlearn everything that you now naturally do, right? Which is
break it all down again.
It is going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
I want to ask, I want to ask both of you guys separately this same question, right? Last long years playing gigs, doing all this sort of stuff, and then hometown Leeds, you sell out Leeds First Direct Arena, 5,000 and a bit people. Like, first off, Casey, what does it feel like watching your mate and client, whatever you want to call it, walk out in front of 5,000 and a bit people?
It's weird. We had a conversation at the start of the year and it was very much like, okay, obviously off the back of Leeds Arena, like, where do we go from here? Sort of like, what's the next step?
O2. I did the O2 Academy the year before.
Yes.
And church 6 months before that. So it was like, O2 Academy is the biggest venue in Leeds. Where do we go next? Like, nah, I can't do it. There's a video of me on my Snapchat after I'd had my hair cut, heading to the O2 going, one day, going past Leeds Arena, and I was like, actually said this. I actually
365 days.
I literally went, one day I'll play here. Nah, I'm joking, but it's always nice to dream. And that was just over a year before.
Okay, so he's walking out. What's it like?
I think at that time it was just an idea, but I think anything that we sort of set our stall out to do, it has actually happened that way. And that's not through like, you know, you can sit here and say, oh, it's law and attraction or it's this, that and the other. But yeah, I think it's just there's a very sort of clear vision about, you know, how far we want to take this, where it's not completely mapped out of how we're going to do it. But I think Danny's willingness to try stuff and my sort of relentlessness in making it happen, that's kind of where it's been a real success in that he has very, very crazy ideas. I can kind of tone them down or refine them or shape them into something that's going to elevate what we've already done. And yeah, it's nice to see like Danny doing something he loves. And obviously there's other benefits that come from that. But yeah, I think to put someone in an environment where they get to do something that they love every single day, you know, earn a living off of it, like that's actually been the biggest reward of it.
That's awesome. Danny walking out on stage, 500,000 people.
It was just like, there's no way to describe it. Right, you imagine you're in Newcastle City Centre or Leeds City Centre walking down and one person screams as loud as they can. You hear that person over 2,000-3,000 people around you. Imagine that times 5,000 all at the same time.
For you.
As you stepped out and you're like, oh my God, how's this even real? Even afterwards, for 4 or 5 days afterwards, I was still like, I'd watched the video of me walking out and I was like, how have I even done that? Like, how is that even achievable or a possibility? Or like, it did just seem like just not even real at all.
That's cool, man.
But like,
that's you're actualizing. You get into what it is that.
But
you
no
want to
point was I like nervous. I wasn't nervous at all. I had loads of people message, oh, I bet you're so nervous, and I was like, take my phone. I can't see people telling me I should be nervous because I'm not. If I didn't want to do this, I wouldn't have tried to do it. Like, I've sat there and gone, I want to do this. Why would I be nervous? Because I've chosen to do it. I've not done it to impress other people. I've done it because it felt good and it was the next progression for me and myself in my career.
So I spoke to Cozzy, I spoke to Christoph about this, and he says that even now he'll play, for him, a small size gig, which might be, 2,000 to 5,000 people. Like the smallest gigs he plays, he still shits himself every time. This is a guy who supported Eric Prydz on New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve, like for the last few years. Played at the biggest venues, played Creamfields, played everything. The first issue lineup release for Creamfields this year and Ultra has him on the top banner. And he's like drinking, desperately trying to calm his nerves, like doing his ex-missus got him doing breathing exercises before he goes out. But
do you know what though? This is the difference. He's come in from being sat at a computer, making music, progressing, making better music, loving music, making music he loves, to then having to be a DJ. I've come from being a big personality, party animal, DJ, then I've learnt to make music. So the ballsy side of it, the me being on stage is no problem because I've been on stage thousands of times before.
Yeah, I think
it's not like I'm chucked in at the deep end. It's like I've gone through that. Like, to me, someone chucking me in a studio with 4 people surrounding me, that's where I'm like, oh.
If you
God.
and Eric Prydz were sat next to each
I'd be
other,
like, oh my God. Whereas he's the exact opposite.
I think
like,
so. To push back on that a bit, Christoph's played a lot of gigs. Back in the day, he'll have played thousands. But this is something that I know that we wanted to get onto, which is to do with mental health and other things. And I've had this in my mind for ages. It's unbelievable that there are people out there who have a particular talent in one area, like an eccentrically brilliant talent in one area of their life, but they don't have the personality makeup which allows them to maximize it. And obviously the perfect example of this is Avicii. You have this guy who is capable of making the music, capable of playing the shows. He does the branding. He does, everything. but he doesn't have the personality which allows him to deal with the lifestyle.
He didn't want to do the shows though. He was pulling his shows. He didn't want to be doing the shows. That was it. He couldn't handle that much attention, albeit like the social media side of it as well would have been massive. But like, it is crazy. You could be in a room with 1,000 people. If one person says you shit, that hurts. 999 people could think you're amazing, and that feels great. But that one person that could literally just, or even tweet afterwards, that's like a second kind of, it's a second wave of insults now. Someone doesn't have to just say it to your face. They could tweet you afterwards.
Far fewer people probably will say it to your face now.
Right? Yeah. Like the Mike Tyson. Do you see the Mike Tyson thing that's blown up today? It says, what is it? There's
social media has allowed people to be brave enough to say horrible things
without getting punched in the face.
Without fearing the repercussion of getting punched.
Without getting punched in the face, and that's so true. Massive. I've had people that have like slagged me off online walk up to me like face to face and shake my hand, and then I realised afterwards that they'd been slagging me off online. I was like, how do you have the balls to do that online? But then in real life, you're like, just scared.
You're not exactly the smallest guy in real life.
That's true.
What have you been doing then? Obviously, people that don't know, can you tell us first off about what happens every summer with regards to your lifestyle? And then can you tell me about how you've coped with that, or what your coping mechanisms are, and whether there were any periods where you were kind of not doing the self-care and maybe there are?
Yeah. So I'll go back a bit further first, because if there's any like resident DJs that really want to get themselves out there, going abroad's one of the best things that you'll do. Go do a season abroad. Go do 5 seasons abroad. Just go and enjoy yourself. Just
at
like
Luke Tibble.
Yeah. just go and do it. Like I started to build a following in Malia by using what we've discussed before. That's where it all kind of started. Before the online stuff started, it started in real life. Like, I was a resident. Casey came out. This is before he'd started being my manager. He came out as a friend to Malia for 4 days, and we're like, why are you still a resident DJ? And I was like, it's ace, I love it. I get to play at these massive clubs on a weekend. It's brilliant. He was like, there's 25 guys over there with Danny T t-shirts on that you don't even sell. They've had them made themselves. And there's 4 guys over there just got your name tattooed on them. Like, why are you still a resident? You could definitely get booked as an artist, and that's how it all started. That is literally how that side of things all started.
Why does abroad make a difference? Why does the season make a difference?
Everything's more heightened abroad. Everyone's more excited. They hold on to those memories. They see someone 7 nights in a row on holiday. They associate that with having a great time, being drunk, meeting new people. And if you've made their night 7 nights in a row, they'll love you forever. There's people coming tonight that saw me in Malia in 2012, 13, 14, like, they'll remember you forever. They're literally like, people are trying to book me for like, can you come and play at my wedding? I'm marrying a girl I met in Malia in 2014. People remember, like,
I would absolutely love to see a Danny T wedding set.
I did one in the Dominican with my friends. I went over to Dominican.
What was the first track?
Lion King. Big wobbly Lion King bootleg.
Jeez. Okay, so go abroad and then tell me, like, what's a week? Give me a week, Monday to Sunday. What's a week?
Right, so that was when I used to actually go and just live over there for like 100 days or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now, the last 2 years I've had like 3 or 4 weeklies in resorts. So it'd be Friday night in the UK at a gig somewhere, anywhere in the UK. Saturday, same again, a gig in the UK. Straight to the airport Sunday, fly to a resort Sunday, play in that resort. Then the Monday, 2 flights to get from one Greek resort to another Greek resort. Last summer I managed to get 2 days in Zante where I was just working the Monday, and then Tuesday I actually just got to chill. And then 2 flights to Napa on the Wednesday, fly back Thursday, have a day with my missus on Thursday, and then straight back to UK Friday, times 15 weeks.
So it's like sort of May until September?
Yeah, June till September. I did like 87 flights, I think it was, last summer. And I was petrified of flying. Like, I was like, I hate the word anxious and anxiety, but I was
You were
like
anxious.
sweaty palms. Oh my God, we're going to die if we turned right. Like, I was the worst flyer. Dave was laughing behind the camera.
What are you like after 87 flights then?
I've conquered my own fear through breathing exercises.
Cozzy's done the same thing. Christoph's done the same thing. Not through breathing exercises, but just through exposure therapy. It's like, if your dream is to DJ around the world and the thing that you have to overcome to do that is flying, it's like you have something which allows you to transcend your fear. You know what I mean?
Prince won't fly.
Prince, no, he does.
Oh,
he does
flying
on very well. I mean, how do you think he gets back home? Like, he doesn't swim.
Yeah, I thought he had to get trained, but
No. So he does fly, but it's very limited. And Cozzy said this, so he doesn't fly across America. Doing an America tour. Imagine if you're doing East Coast to West Coast. Like, he's on a bus with Cozzy, like Christoph's just sat there like, I could have fucking been there in 3 hours. And he's like doing
I'd have just got on the plane. I'd have just got a flight.
Okay, so we've spoken about the flying, but that's your sleep's being messed up, your diet, your training, your nutrition. Like, how are you? What's your headspace like? Have you had periods where that's really damaged you, or did you have periods where your headspace went wayward?
I've been more physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, than actually like felt low. Like, a lot of DJs will play a massive gig, play in front of loads of people, whether it's an artist or a resident, leave, and then they feel horrendous. They feel really low, upset. They don't like what's going on. They feel as if they've let everybody down. It's like, and I get where that would come from, but I love that time afterwards. Like, after the arena show, 5,500 people left. I went and had a wander and a smile, just wandered around the arena, like, as if all these people came and stood here. Like, that to me, I loved that. I like a bit of like private time. Whereas for a lot of DJs, especially when like alcohol and amongst other things are involved, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing, the night's building. Then
it's a big drop.
Where's all my friends?
That's precisely what Christoph brought up on our podcast. For him, especially because of how ruthless his tour is, he'll go 3 or 4 days without being in a bed sometimes. Because of the length of the flights, the change of the time zones, the number of flights and transfers and stuff. And he said, I wonder whether or not Casey is this part of the saving grace for this, and the fact that you've constructed a team that is around you, because Cozzy doesn't have a tour manager. So he plays this gig, he'll smash the arse off supporting Fairplay or Adam Beyer or whatever it might be, and then come back to a hotel room on your own, surrounded by a bit of room service.
That's Davo. Casey doesn't tour with me. Casey lives his life how I live my life. When I'm not DJing, like, I'm in bed by 10 o'clock.
Got you.
Yeah, but I think, like, sort of going on even sort of further to what you said, like, the fact that you kind of had your heyday and party day when you was a resident in Marriott, you've kind of lived those experiences. Now, because you are so motivated musically and with your career, etc., there is, for some DJs, that drive and urgency to have that escapism, with like drinking after their sets, to avoid that sober come down, if you like, of, oh, this is the reality that I'm faced with. I've just gone from being on stage and having this massive high, and then, sort of the realization that comes after that. Whereas some people will try and escape it with alcohol, etc. I think for you, because you can kind of embrace it and you actually like it and you want to be motivated the next day for work, like, that's where you get the...
For me, the lowest of the low feeling would be telling myself I'm getting up at 11 o'clock and waking up at 7 p.m. and thinking, oh, I've just let myself down here. That's much worse for me. Like, but if I'm on stage for 60 minutes, as much as I'm thoroughly enjoying myself, it's still a job. I've got a job to do. I've got a job to just to smash it out the park for those 60 minutes. The time afterwards is reflection on how good the job was, or how good I don't want to call it a job, because when I first started, I wanted to do it for free. It just so happens to pay now. But the performance, I like to think about it afterwards and be like, yeah, that was sick. That was
Do you listen to your sets back ever? To
No, I can just remember. Obviously, we have video content for every gig. I know which kind of drops have been the biggest, don't I? And I'll be like, yeah, that one was good. Make sure we've got a video of that.
There is a period of your post-work reflection that allows you to iterate on improving that, though, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I've literally today, a podcast's gone out with James from podcast.co, where I talked about mine. And Rogan says that he never ever listens to his podcasts back, which is interesting because he always listens to his stand-up routines back. And I think it's because, first off, he's going to be so busy that after having spent 3 hours recording with someone, then spending another 3 hours listening to it back is a little bit much.
You get tired of your own voice.
Yeah. But I think the other thing is that he finds podcasting to be so well within his domain of competence that he doesn't need to. But for me at the moment, as someone who's still trying to improve and iterate on that, I think that reflection period is really, really important. But you touched on something real important, which is I think a lot of DJs don't consider their job a job.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, like, I am the guy, I'm a fantastic example of who you need to impress. I've got 4 nights a week in Newcastle, either, multiple rooms of those. There's probably 100 grand of wages going out to DJs between all the different rooms, all the different bits. It's like, I want a person who's going to turn up on time. I want someone who's going to put some social media up during the day without me asking.
Yeah.
Without me having to fucking go, hi mate, would you mind fucking
This is our book.
Do you know what it is? I think that's kind of, initially, Danny's sort of appeal to DJing was very much just an amplified party lifestyle, and the fact that he was
I would still never belay or sack it off or not do the best job I could. I would never drink myself into oblivion and do I would. But I'd still be able to perform. I'd still be able to do the set.
But I think that sort of that, you call it DJ etiquette, that sort of those lower level basics of professionalism, it seemed to be absent for quite a few DJs. That was something I sort of observed, and I think even you in the early days, because you had that, and that was just because you wanted to be everyone's friend and you were that larger than life personality, I think particularly DJs don't realise how far that goes. Yes, you need to be a technically good DJ and obviously be able to read a crowd and all of those sort of fundamentals, but if you're not a nice person, or you're late, or you're not posting on social media, you're not supporting an event, people aren't going to want to book you.
I mean, the DJ skills are what get you through the door. There's this blog post that someone sent to me the other day that talks about why nice guys think that girls should like them. And it's like, hang on a second, you think that because you're kind to your mum and you're always on time and you always put kisses at the end of a text, that girls should like you? They're like, fuck you, you do not know what girls like. There is a man out there who can do all of that and he plays the guitar. And you're like, that's it. That's the fucking guy that plays the guitar. So you've
going back to like just being that happy, friendly, jolly guy. I was on the phone to somebody. Our Sky wasn't working in our bedroom last night.
I know it wasn't, because I've had to put someone on for free tonight because of this.
So I don't even know if I put it on my story. I don't know if you've seen it. So I was on the phone to someone from Sky, and he were cracking a few jokes. Like he thought he were like a funny guy, and he was quite entertaining, to be fair. It was a bit of breath of fresh air that somebody that was sorting you, like fixing your Sky, was actually like putting a bit of personality into the call. And it was like, what were you trying to watch when it's not working, blah blah blah. And then we got talking. I was like, where are you from in the northeast? Could tell he was from the northeast. It was like, Newcastle. I was like, playing there tomorrow. He's like, where at? I was like, Digital. He was like, we love Digital. Oh my god. He goes, I'll tell you what, I'll do you a deal. If you sort me out, if I fix your Sky tonight, you put me and my friends in VIP at Digital tomorrow night.
It's a fucking easy deal for you, mate. It's my daughter.
Yeah. And you know what? And Rebecca, my missus Rebecca, said as soon as she heard that, she went, my God, you'll make friends with anyone. And I was like, that falls back into this. It's just like,
demeanour,
conduct. Why would you not? I totally respect people that don't want to make loads of friends, but just, I don't know, I just attract friends. I think
the point that you've made there is you are at a competitive advantage if you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
right? Because it's just
Especially in this industry.
it's people, man. You know, like, and we touched on it before. Like, you have to be able to deliver the product. I'll happily sack a nice DJ who's shit at DJing, but I'll pick over 2 DJs that are the same. I'll pick the one that's pushing the social media. I'll pick the one that does everything else. But as we've said at the very beginning, a lot of DJs look at all of the ancillary shit, all the stuff around the outside, where it's like, are you releasing a monthly mix? Probably a pretty good play. If I was a DJ, first thing I would do would be to have, like, build up a mix following. Sharpens my skills, keeps me relevant with people.
And you're searching for new music.
All the time.
Because you can't just put the same stuff on every mix. You've got to constantly be hunting for new stuff.
The foundation of kind of what I put into play with Danny in the very beginning was your personality is great, and, you know, musically people know who you are and they will watch you on Fridays and Saturdays, potentially Sundays while they're hungover and scrolling through their phone. But that midweek between Monday and Thursday, what are you doing to grab people's attention? Like, are you engaging with those people? Are you putting out a mix? Like, as a DJ, you're meant to be their resource of information for music. Like, how are you keeping them engaged? How are you, like, letting them know about music? So a monthly mix was a great foundation for us. And then, yeah.
Or some weeks I'll put in 3 mixes out.
Yeah.
3 mixes a week out. When my SoundCloud was at its height, SoundCloud's dropped off. Everyone's kind of gone towards Spotify playlists now rather than actual DJ mixes. You can still get good plays on DJ mixes. People still do want them and still like them, but they weren't. SoundCloud was just like the one. And as I could see everything progressing, I was like, wait, I can put out 2 mixes this week. Go on, I'll put another one out tomorrow. And I was like, because I was just sat at home just hunting for music. Like, even when I was in Mali, I'd wake up and the lads would like go past on their peds past a restaurant and beat the horn, laughing and joking, because I was sat staring at my laptop and they were going to sunbathe for 4 hours. And I'd be sat there.
But did it feel like work?
No, because I was enjoying it and sunbathing's boring.
So another thing that keeps on coming back in a lot of conversations I'm having, your competitive advantage in life is doing what for you feels like fun, but for everyone else feels like work.
Yeah.
That is the easiest way to find. And for me, it's this. You know, like, I've got work tonight till 3 a.m, which is even later than you, depending on whether or not you're drinking.
We've got to go back to Leeds.
So, you know, I've got that tonight. But I hassled you to come and do this podcast because I'd have felt remiss. Like I want to know what it's like to walk out on stage in front of 5. Yeah. So for me, I am at a competitive advantage for other people for whom this would be, you're lovely, but this would be fucking torture, right? I'm enjoying it, and so is everyone that's listening. But some people wouldn't want to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Even some of the audience.
But that's just you not taking advantage, but that's you, taking advantage of an opportunity that could arise for both of us. It's just you. It's the one. You've got to want something.
I would do this even if there was no opportunity coming off the back of it. I would do this and not put it out.
It stems from you doing what you love. And I think literally, like, a big part of my job is, I said this to you at the start of the year, like, that feeling, that sensation that you got walking on stage at the First Direct Arena. My job through and through is to facilitate as many of those moments as possible this year and beyond. Like, the fact that you get to do what you love, if I can make that happen time and time and time again, that's wholeheartedly why I exist. That is my job role in its entirety. The same for you, the fact that you're able to do what you love, like, why wouldn't you do that over and over and over again?
And the thing as well is, on top of that, there's this brilliant example I got from James Clear, a guy that wrote Atomic Habits, and he was talking about Steffi Graf. Remember Steffi Graf, the tennis player?
No, I'm only 90. I remember Steffi.
So Steffi Graf was
Did she get did she get shot?
She's still alive.
No, not dead, just shot.
I don't know. That's a weird thing to happen. If anyone knows whether or not Steffi Graf's being shot, please leave it in the comments below.
I thought, no, it was the other one that got stabbed on court. Tennis player.
Is this in... Have you imagined this, Danny?
No, what is she called? Monica Seles got stabbed on court. But they were like...
If anyone knows if Monica Seles has been stabbed on court, please. So, she's about 12 years old. She's in the German youth tennis setup. They do an assessment, 2 broad spectrums. One of them is capability athletically, and the other one is mindset. And it turns out that Steffi Graf was the highest rated in terms of her technical ability She was also the highest rated in terms of love for the sport. So it's like, hang on a second. Let's say that you have all the talent that Steffi Graf does. She'll still outwork you, and it won't even feel like work to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that is a formidable person to come up against.
Do you know what? So aside from managing Danny, I also like consult with other people. And the one thing that's been consistent throughout it is, if you're an entrepreneur, a creative, or someone where, you know, you're putting something out there to some people, you have to have your why. And if you don't love what you do, like, you'll end up giving up. And I think the fact is, like, it hasn't always been easy for you, but the fact that you just want to DJ and you absolutely love it through and through, that's what gives you the consistency to, like, continue going, even when it hasn't been ideal, hasn't, like, been as smooth as people may perceive it. Like, I just think if you want to be successful, like, having your why in terms of, you know, really, really loving what you do, that's what will enable you to.
I've said on it, like, if I stopped enjoying this, I'd stop.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just carry on doing it just because it pays the bills. I'll go get a job. Like, I wouldn't do it making me miserable because it's made me so happy over the years. Why would I want that to go down? Like, stay on a high, like, just park it. Park that. I don't enjoy it anymore. Do a retirement gig, make loads of money, and then and then go on and do something else. Yeah, whatever comes next, or whatever.
Well, there's that Nietzsche quote, which is, a man with a strong enough why can bear any how. And you're like, there you go. Like, I'm happy to go through fucking fire and brimstone if kind of the challenge is worth it. So, you know, there'll have been nights where you've been basically no sleep, getting on a plane, fucking strapping your eye mask on. I've seen photos of you. You look like a Teletubby just from the face up with like.
That's some techers. That's flying techers.
So I'm going to break the fourth wall a little bit. To the people that are listening, Danny's been teasing me with his travel hacks. Oh, mate, I need to go. I've got the best life hacks in the world.
There's loads that I can't even share with you because if they start doing it, they'll cotton onto it and we won't be able to.
You'll ruin it for the rest of them.
Okay, so
there's a few I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah, and I want you to be able to give us some that you're prepared to make.
Right, sleeping on planes. Bearing in mind, I used to be so anxious on a flight that I just had to cling on to the seat in front and couldn't let go until we'd stopped for average of 4 hours, 7-8 flights a week. You can imagine how painful that was to start with. Now, the whole summer, last summer, 87 flights, I was awake for no more than 15 minutes on each flight.
What do you do? What's your process? Talk me through it.
Good headphones that go over the ear.
What do you use?
I've just got Beats, like soft grey Beats that go over the top. So make sure they're soft, because if they're in your ear, you could wake up because it's hurting the inside of your ear. Earpods don't work. I love my earpods, but they don't work for this. So over the top of the ear, I just use the Headspace free trial. Just loop the 10 10-minute meditation.
You know they've got the sleep noise, which is like white noise but for sleep. Have you heard that? And it's like different levels of hums and
I have that to go to sleep. It's an app called Sleep Aid.
Okay, similar stuff. Okay, so you've got some
that and an eye mask. An eye mask that doesn't touch the lids of your eyes.
What eye mask do you use? Do you know where you got it from?
It's an Amazon one, but it's like a round pad.
Yeah, okay.
That goes around. If it touches your eyelids, you wake up with really dry eyes and your eyes all stuck together.
Okay.
If it doesn't touch your eyelids, you literally wake up and I should have done that.
So,
you literally wake up and you're like fresh and ready to go.
So they're like, for people that are just listening, they're kind of like furry goggles, aren't they? But with something over the front of the goggle as well.
Yeah, they look like a World War I pilot goggles. Yeah. And I've got it's not a breathing mask. It doesn't help you breathe, but it just stops. Like, planes are literally the most unhealthy air in the world. It's just.
Oh, so you've got. Like
I have one of those that clips around and just.
Do you know where you got your mask?
Yeah, just I buy everything.
Can you remember the brand at all?
No, I can't.
I'll try and get you to send it to me. If I can find it, it'll be in the show notes below.
Yeah.
So you got that. What about a cushion for the neck?
Yeah, you've got to have I've got the same one, and the same one I've had for like 3 years now, and it needs a wash. It needs a good wash now, but I've never found one that's better. You've got to make sure when it's clipped together, you can't touch like your ear on your shoulders, because otherwise you end up like. I woke up before without one and being like, oh my God, how am I gonna DJ? I'm like pushing my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my, like, what have I done to myself?
Got your ear glued to your shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that. What about sort of posture? What about seat choice? Do you
Seat
try and
choice,
aim for an aisle, aim for a window, aim for the front?
That's a hack within itself.
That's a hack and a separate conversation, which I'll speak to you about afterwards.
Secret info.
But if you book a seat towards the front of the plane, it isn't as turbulent as the back.
That's interesting.
You don't get shaken as much. If you think about it, the wings are there. The wings are there left and right. Your first point is the first bit. It's the wings that are going up and down, not the front of the plane. So as the wings are going up and down, the back's moving more than the front.
That's interesting.
So you always get worse turbulence at the back of the plane. I might have just made that up, but in my head it works. And I always have. I think that's true. I haven't researched or read that.
If you've
anywhere.
made it up, someone will call it out.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah,
the internet,
Oh,
the
that's
internet
good.
is
That's
listening,
good.
Danny. So.
But I've been on loads of flights at the front. They've been fine. Loads of flights at the back, and the back flights are always a lot they feel a lot bumpier. Even like when there's no turbulence, like when they don't have the seatbelt sign on. Even when you're allowed to walk around, the back of the plane definitely bounces more.
What's the most efficient way to get through an airport?
Run. It is worth paying £2.50 in advance for fast track security.
Okay.
Straight through. If you book it well in advance, it's £2.50.
Is that with anyone that's like EasyJet or...
No, you book it direct through the airport.
Right, okay.
Yeah. I've been on flights before that if I didn't have that, I'd have 100% missed my flights.
Well, I suppose the problem is, it's all well and good. I can turn up to pretty much any flight departing from Newcastle because from here it is 10 minutes to the airport. I can leave here an hour and 15 before I need to depart, even with hold luggage, and be on the plane fine, unless there's a queue at security.
Yeah.
And if there's a queue at security, you done fucked. Like,
if there's a queue at security, all you do is run to the front and go, I'm about to miss my flight, and they'll let you go straight through.
Okay, there's a hack.
There's a good hack.
What about other stuff? What about, are you taking water on board? Are you making sure, if you got like...
Every airport's now got a tap at the other side, so just take an empty bottle of plastic water if you don't.
Tap at the other side?
As soon as you go through security, there's now a drinking tap.
Really?
In every UK airport, yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't know if they've legally had to put it in, but
You've noticed.
Everyone I've gone through now, they have one of those little...
So you've got like a
protein
taps, shaker or like a chili bottle.
Yeah, just take a bottle. To be fair, I'm like so in a rush, I'm not even like that prepared sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just like, right, quick, grab it. Well, water's free on the plane.
You want to have it, do you know what I mean? You want the big bottle that you've got with you at all times.
Yeah.
I've got a good one. It's already been on Life Hacks, but WH Smith versus Boots. If you go into WH Smith, they've got buttered saurine loaves, and it's 50p less for the meal deal. And they've actually got, I think, a more premium selection of sandwiches. So fuck Boots, that's what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm still after a sponsorship if you want to give me some free toiletries. What else? So what else have you got from...
You've got to make sure your liquid's in a bag, because that could save you 25 minutes there. Don't make any mistakes. No, well, depends how many times you travel. If you travel a lot, I know my laptop has to come out. I know my phone charger has to come out. That's always good to have, a phone charger to take on the plane, because if your iPhone's not the latest one, they make sure it doesn't last 4 hours. So always have like a phone charger. 20 quid for the massive ones. And it charges your phone 6 or 8 times.
5 times,
yeah,
exactly.
I could literally take that on the road for 4 days and it'll just keep charging my phone.
I'm going to Athens this weekend for my birthday, and I'm taking an external charger, and I don't need to worry about having a plug socket. I've got nothing else that I need to charge. My Kindle will last for 5 weeks because they're monstrous. You're right, you got your external charger, you don't even care about what the power port is.
I just bought one for my laptop to take on.
A laptop big one, external charger?
Yeah.
No way does that exist.
Yeah, that's for the road. I just bought it. 100 quid off Amazon.
Shit. How many laptop chargers?
I haven't tried it yet.
What does it say? It must have told you. How many laptop chargers do you get out of your charger? 1?
I don't know.
Fucking hell.
I just went for the biggest one that... Davo obviously knows about carrying camera equipment through, and if it's over 100 watt, you're not allowed to take it through security if they spot
Being
it.
hold luggage.
So I knew that it wasn't allowed to be more than 100
95
watts. So
or
I
something.
just got the 100 watt one, which was that was the biggest one. But it's about this big. It's not even that heavy. It's got a fan built into it to keep it cool.
Shit,
It's
the
like
bed.
it's not even that heavy.
Some
You felt
cool
it?
piece of kit, that though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, do you run out of battery on your laptop that much?
Yeah, on the road. Yeah, not well with my old laptop that'd last about 15 minutes. I've got a new laptop that I had to buy
Significantly
after
better.
I had my last one stolen. When I
What
got
about for on the road then? Let's say that you're driving. You got any cool travel hacks for driving around on the road? Like, have you got a preference on?
most service stations have got, be it rustlers or baby milk free microwaves, so you can actually take decent food on the road. You don't have to just live on meal deals.
So you could potentially pre-cook all of your stuff.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Pre-cook some stuff.
That's what I do. I've got it in a bag here. Well,
Do you use my microwave? Around 50p.
not right. I don't know. Road hacks. Come on, you're with me all the time. What?
Drive at night.
How to not pay for parking?
Drive at night.
Drive at night.
Man, I mean, anyone that's between the hours of like 7 a.m. and 9 and then 3:30 p.m. and 5:30, the roads are just
Oh, Leeds is till 8. Easy.
really,
Can't move.
especially around the arena as well, I'm guessing.
Not even the arena, the whole of the city centre's just mad in it. My parents live 10 miles away from me at the opposite side of Leeds. It's half an hour in no traffic, an hour and 45 minutes if it's busy.
I live in London. It's just awful.
Yeah. Get the train.
Have you ever been to LA?
No.
Yes.
Have you
It's
seen the traffic in
disgusting.
LA?
Yeah, it's horrendous.
It's beyond anything you've ever seen. Like,
Yeah.
and the thing as well is there's so many lanes. It's mind blowing that you're on a motorway and you're like, oh, there must be a crash ahead. You're like, no, this
just
is
that many
just
cars.
what traffic is like
Yeah,
out here,
yeah.
nose to tail for miles.
It's like Dubai. It's like at one point the motorway, the freeway in Dubai is 11 lanes each way wide.
But the thing with Dubai, this is what blew me away, is that is a city which has been designed for millions of people to live there. So you can be doing 70 miles an hour, 90 seconds before you reach your destination in the middle of the city, and then you'll peel off on this like real weird spaghetti
Yeah,
junction,
yeah.
and then it just deposits you on like the Palm Jumeirah beach or whatever, and you're like, how the fuck did I was on a motorway 2 seconds ago? How did I get here? Yeah, that is good. So
Or if you take a wrong turn, you've got a 17-mile detour to get back to where you
it's
need
a
to
little
be.
bit challenging. Yeah, you don't want to fuck up with that.
Tight Yorkshireman coming out here. So we've been to Dubai. Me and my missus have been to Dubai like 4 times now. Not the last time we went, the time before that. Bearing in mind, you can get a taxi from the airport to any hotel in Dubai for about 15 quid. It's not actually that
Uber
expensive.
is outrageously
Yeah.
cheap out there. It's insane.
It's so cheap. And there's even like the local taxis are even cheaper than Uber. So we got there and I was like, right, no, we're going to explore. It was night time as well. It was pitch black. We decided to get the train, which it was probably about 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. It had gone dark, but it wasn't like the middle of the night. The train was still running. I was like, right, we'll get dropped off at the bottom of the Palm and then just walk up to 5, which is the hotel we're staying at. It's only 100 yards or something. Got there and I was like, oh my God, there's 4 motorways in between here and the bottom of the Palm. There's no footpaths. You can't walk anywhere. So I was like,
couldn't believe it.
how are we going to flag a taxi down here? Like, oh
Where do you need
my
to go? There.
And I looked, and we were literally at the bottom of the Palm from the hotel, from the airport on the train, bottom of the Palm, flagged down a taxi, and we were at what I thought it was going to be 200 or 300 yard walk from the train station. It was a 7-mile car journey to get there in the taxi once
shit,
we'd got
you're
there.
looping
Because you
back
can't
round.
just go straight up. You have to go like round and then don't go too far because you'll end up on that motorway and then back on yourself and then up the Palm and then you have to go a mile past 5 to turn back and come back down the Palm to get to it. Like,
It is, man. I mean,
so yeah, if
anyway,
you go to Dubai, don't be tight. Just pay for a taxi.
it's
It's
so
cheap.
cheap, man. Yeah, you're right. So we wanted to touch on some mental health stuff today as well.
Yeah.
Have you guys been having sort of many discussions about this recently? Has there been any?
We have a lot just in
Everybody.
life anyway. Just
Yeah.
We want to write a book called
How
How-
not to be an idiot.
How to survive in a world full of
Yeah.
idiots.
As an idiot.
No.
Right, okay.
Just
So how do I survive in a world full of idiots?
how long have you got?
Hey. With the
Our most common thing that we say to each other is that common sense is the least common thing in the world. Like, it's actually so ironic because common sense is not common at all.
Give me an example of some uncommon common sense.
Oh, how to undo a light bulb. 80% of people don't know how to change a light bulb. They'd have
Where
to
have you
work
got that
it
stat
out.
from?
Oh, I can't remember. I've read it somewhere, but
Is this the same place that you read being at the back of a plane to cause turbulence?
I've probably just made that up as well.
I can't. I mean, bayonet things are a little bit like non-logical, like the way that you put a bayonet light bulb in. What else? What else is uncommon?
Oh, I know loads of people that don't know there's two types of light bulb.
Okay,
Two types of fixing.
Yeah.
They didn't know, like, people that are buying houses, like grown adults, 25, 30-year-olds that don't know that there's two different types of light bulb.
There's people listening now that are going, fucking two types.
Two types.
What else? What else uncommon?
Let's do the mental health thing. That's going to
All
be
right, cool.
easier.
Hit me. What have you been thinking about recently? What have you been talking about?
Well, it's obviously massive, and it's probably the biggest buzz word. I don't know if buzz means that it's like a positive thing or not, but it's so talked about in life in general, in the media, that mental health is this big problem that I think I've never actually sat there and like Googled how do I not have mental health? Like, everybody's got mental health. I've just put some things in place that I think work to make sure I don't have any problems.
What are they?
Like the feeling of nostalgia. It's good to throw back to your childhood. I've got a bicycle. I do like loads of bike rides, and that to me is not just a bit of fitness. That to me is like, I finished the bike ride and I'm like, that were amazing. I felt like a big kid again. It's like the feeling of going wee when you're a kid going down a hill. Like, that is a feeling of like the best. Not that your life might be bad now, but like the most trouble-free, easy, calm, happy times of your life is just being a kid when you have no worries. So putting things in place that bring you back to that, I think it's a tiny little thing that you can do to make yourself happier.
What about you, Casey? What have you been thinking about to do with mental health recently?
I think gratitude is something that's very, very underestimated in terms of how it can benefit your mental health. I just think it's a good foundation, and I don't know anyone who is like happy or like, I'd say really has like a productive mental health setting that doesn't actively or proactively practice like gratitude.
How have you instantiated that? How have you structured that into your life?
6-minute diary.
Hey, link in show notes below.
That was actually a recommendation from your podcast.
Yes.
That there's other little things, but I think just like proactively taking measures to.
It's bizarre if you don't have a formalized structure like you now do with the 6-minute diary or anything else. If you're not innately built to be grateful for things and to be reflective in that way and to focus on the good, it is a real change, very, very drastic difference between the two. And I don't know about you, but I think I've filled like 5 or 6 in now. So I've been doing it like 3 years. And now I find myself doing things and thinking about things in a way that gratitude has taught me to. So I'll do some
perception.
Yep.
It's entirely how you choose to look at something, and you can be presented with something. And the difference in mindset between how I choose to look at something, be it from, what is this teaching me? And, am I looking at it from a position where, say, for example, people who go through trauma, it's quite easy to sit there and blame that trauma for, how bad it's made you feel. But at the same time, that trauma is also responsible for all the good things that have come out of it. And literally just by being great, I'm not saying that you need to be grateful for trauma, but being grateful for the experiences and the lessons that you have learned from that, nothing has changed in that dynamic. It's just choosing to look at it from an entirely different perspective.
Couldn't agree more, man. Yeah,
That's it.
You are very much in control of your response to any situation. And I'm reading Man's Search for Meaning again for like the third time at the moment, Viktor Frankl's book. This guy, Holocaust survivor, who also created a school of psychology called logotherapy. And the quote from it is, the final thing that can never be taken from any man is his ability to respond however he chooses to any given situation. And that's it, right? You can be in the worst situation in Auschwitz, but you can still choose how you respond. Someone says something to you, that is a freedom that can't be taken away. Now, obviously it can be, you can't say, oh, I'm going to fly away, I'm not a bird. There are certain things you can't do, but there is always something you can. And I think that switching of victimhood mentality makes a big difference for people.
I think as well, like even with Danny's social media, I think, as I said before, if you're a creative in any sense of the word, you're obviously putting some sort of creation to the word. So you're going to have people that like it, people that don't like it. How you choose to respond to that ultimately is a major influence on your own mental health. So Danny having people saying that they don't like his DJing or they don't like his mixing, etc.
It's not quite as nice as that. Is
no, it's not in any way, shape, or form. But
that's
again,
that's the
dulled down version. But again, how Danny chooses to respond to that.
But like, I'm laughing about it. I'm laughing at people. I'm not laughing at them. I'm just laughing about the fact that people can be so offended by a combination of chords and sounds to think that they have to type that your music is as bad as AIDS or cancer. Like to me, that's hilarious. How can you actually how is someone's brain that stupid to make those links? Like music, I don't like. You could just switch it off and be happy about switching it off. Instead, you have to, right, let me get my phone and tell everyone how much I don't like it. Like, that's so sad. It shows how much of an unhappy person you have to be to do that. Like,
I think it's, everyone has these thoughts, right, that sort of burble below the surface. It's undealt with jealousy or envy or genuine just dislike for something that you do. The problem is that social media rewards things that we either agree with or things that outrage us. That's one of the reasons I think why every conversation now is getting polarized to the extremes. You have people that are grouping into spheres of awareness on both ends of the spectrum, and then you have the people that just come out with shock tactics.
There's no rationality on social media. I don't think people were able to have conversations either. It's literally, I agree with you, and I think there's such an eagerness as well for people just to say the first thing that comes to their head or jump on something that they think is a popular
sometimes
opinion.
People sit there and plan it out for hours how to be the funniest they can be to get the most likes. Not even the funniest, just the nasty. What's going to get what's going to get me the most likes today?
I really think you'd be surprised, man. I think maybe some people that have that trolling mentality may constantly have, is this an opportunity to troll in the back of their mind?
Yeah.
I don't think that any of the stuff that you see like that, the real vitriol comments, I don't think any of them are considered.
No.
I think they're all visceral.
I think a lot of times they don't even mean them either. They're not even like...
Well, they just say it. It's just a thing. And this is... For never in human history have all of the things that we've said been recorded. Ever. Right now, this conversation should, if it wasn't for technology, just between us three and the two guys behind the camera. Yeah. That's what it should be. But now we have technology that allows us to do that. And you have the lack of friction that means that you can say something 24 hours a day that is recorded forever on the internet. And we're seeing this, so the Caroline Flack situation that's occurred this weekend. The Sun had put a particular article up about her. And then as soon as...
Deleted the article.
They took the article down as soon as they realised they could get some...
And that's the thing, I think, particularly with media, publications like that, the fact is, I think Idris Elba done a very good quote about this, where he said, people don't really care whether it's Denzel Washington. It was like, people don't really care if it's true or not. They just want to be first, see it and say it. So I think particularly for the Sun newspaper, it's what headline is going to sell the most articles. It doesn't matter if it's true, because they just need people to read it, and they know they can get away with a small apology afterwards.
And it's a lot worse now than it used to be. There's so much clickbait out there. People will read the headlines and go, oh my God, it's going to snow sheep tomorrow. Sheep are going to drop from the ground. And when what it'll actually say is the article will be about some wallpaper of sheep falling from the sky that's actually a picture, but the headlines grip people, and sometimes they don't even read that deep into it. They're just like,
because there's so
and
much
they believe
information.
everything that's online, like everything that's online.
Didn't someone do a troll of this where they said like this huge big article that got reshared tons, and it said 89% of people don't read past the first headline of an article, and then the rest of it was explaining how that was a lie.
That's amazing.
And you're just like, yeah, it's just people that grab a link and reshare it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's challenging for me to see the things that I do online. So you're someone who's got exposed to more incoming social media than most normal people will do. What are some of the strategies you use to deal with that? Is it just ignore?
Let Casey see it and not me.
Outsource it to someone else?
I don't see it. I don't want to see it. Whether it's positive or not, I'm not putting it out there for people. If I read 100 comments of, oh my God, it's amazing, I love you, although that makes me feel amazing, that's not the reason I'm doing it. I'm putting it out there because I thoroughly enjoy it and I want it to continue this journey that I'm on. It's like, so for me to not see the positive comments means that I don't see the negative comments. That's absolutely fine.
Price that you're prepared to pay.
And more to the point, I think, going back to what you said in the very, very beginning about, I think the real support from Danny's following comes from the people that come see him in the shows. And the fact that people are there appreciating what he does firsthand, that's where you can get your satisfaction. It's not from people commenting or anything like that, but the fact that people are willing to spend their hard-earned money and see you as a source of entertainment and, they're there supporting you at your shows, etc. That's a much easier metric for you to gauge how successful you are. As opposed to sitting there reading loads of comments of how many likes you got on a video.
For sure.
I used to reply to if something was bad or I didn't agree with it. I did a few years ago. I would reply I remember once, and this is what kind of changed it. I won't say which club it was, but I was playing in a club, and someone messaged me it were on Snapchat. It wasn't even on Instagram or anything. It was a private message on Snapchat saying, you fat bastard, I've just paid as if I've just paid a tenner to come in here and see you. You're getting stabbed when you leave here.
Nice message.
And I replied saying, bearing in mind his username was his full name, I replied, I sent it, I showed it straight to the manager who was stood next to me. And he went, right, he's banned from here. I'll find out who he is, pub watch, whatever. We'll make sure his name not get in. So I literally replied saying, congratulations, mate, you've just got yourself banned for life. And that was it. That's all I replied saying. The next day, he screenshotted that and put it on Twitter saying my reply. He didn't put what he'd said. And then his comment was, all I did was call him a fat bastard and look at the response.
No, it wasn't that.
500 likes.
He said that he didn't like your set and that you'd got him banned.
All right. Yeah, it was something like, oh yeah, put up the screenshot of that, but he said, all I said was I didn't like his set or something like that. And my reply was completely not to that whatsoever.
Did you get your screenshot and then put it in?
You couldn't quote tweet with the screenshot then. So what could I do?
Yeah.
And it had vanished by then anyway.
I get it. Yeah.
I was literally
bitch.
I think it got 300 likes, his actual thing. But to me, that was 300 people that hated me and were happy to see my demise. And from that day, I was like, I can't see this stuff. It's going to stop me from doing something I love because of people that are not benefiting me in any way anyway. So if you care about the people that don't love what you do, that's the wrong energy. You don't need to focus your energy on battling the people that are never going to love what you do or benefit your career anyway. Or
being being sort of authentically vulnerable in the sense of appreciating that, not everyone is going to love what you do and you're okay with that.
Yeah.
The journey that we're kind of on, it's there's obviously people that aren't going to like it, but there are thousands and thousands of people who do love it, and it's let's focus on the steak, not the peas. Those are the people who are paying to support you.
I like steak.
Let's entertain those people and do a very, very good job at it.
Yeah.
And I think you focus your energy on that, it's a totally different perception.
You touched on something there, Casey, about the people who follow their favorite content creator or DJ or whatever it is, the ones that are buying their music, that are going to their shows, that are doing whatever. Now, I say, there's been some people over the last few years who've been like, man, like I've taken a lot of value from the podcast. Thank you very much. I'd love to buy you a gift or whatever is that. And I'm honestly, the best thing that you can do is just share it with a friend. Like if you get me one more sub, that's it. So, you know, for the people that are listening, I did this tweet that went a bit viral the other day that said, gas your friends up. It blows my mind how many people will support a Rihanna by pure collaboration, but won't like their friend's new business on Facebook. It's like, if you want to feel like you're helping a content creator, just do the thing, stick to the thing that they do, like help them, gas them up in that sort of a way, suggest it to your friends. Because I think you have a unique mindset with this, Danny, in that you don't need that, not confirmation or validation, but you don't need gassing up from your fans because you kind of have faith that they're there for you. But there are people out there, and I'm one of them, who I'm still early on in the journey with regards to the podcast, and I take so much pleasure and so much motivation from seeing those messages that for me, it's still an important part of it. Do you know what I mean? Especially there'll be people out there, most projects are solo projects, so it's hard to find someone else that's on that same path as you. And with that in mind, it's like, if you like what someone does, message them, tell them, like, remove the friction, because you've just spent the last 20 minutes scrolling through Instagram stories of people you hate. And you're like, well, why don't you just fucking support your guy? Like,
no, I don't think that I think I'm above reading people's messages or anything like that, because I will go through every single message.
My point is, you don't necessarily take them to heart either way.
2 or 3 days later, once all the bad ones have been hidden. Just so that I don't, like, it's not that it'd even bother me that much, it's just, why even see anything that's
when you have the opportunity
bring me down?
To.
Like,
exactly.
I've seen a video before that a DJ had released. He was playing at Ministry of Sound in London, and he'd made a bootleg, like a drum and bass bootleg of a big house tune. And he put up a video. 2 hours later, it was on 100,000 views. Like, it was going. He'd not put a penny sponsor on it. It was flying. And because of all the negative comments, it deleted the video because it was getting to him too much. It upset him.
Despite the fact that
that could have had 1 million views. That could have changed his life, changed his career. That could have. But for something to go viral, equally as many people that hate it, in music especially, a song, it's got to get slated to make it go viral. An equal number of people have got to share it because they hate it as like it, because that doubles the amount of views, that doubles the amount of exposure it's getting.
Johnny, the guy that's usually sat where you are, Casey, he does PPC and like advertising, Facebook ads every day, and his synopsis for all of that is clicks are clicks. You know what I mean? Like, which is the old adage, it's better to be infamous than it is.
But I literally saw this video was going to get 1 million views. The speed it was going at, the speed the views were going up at, and he couldn't bear the criticism. He couldn't take not the criticisms, it was like nasty stuff. But because he hated it so much, but if an agent could go to somebody and go, oh, I got 1 million views in 2 days.
We should get that guy. We should give him a crack at Ibiza Rocks warm-up set or whatever it might be. So how do you deal, Casey? Obviously, it's you that is kind of in the vanguard. You've taken point on shitey social media comments. It must be challenging for you to see people online saying bad things about your client/friend.
No, you don't see it like I'd see it.
Yeah, do you know what? In the early stages, I think because even I was quite protective over what we were trying to achieve, I was like, okay, well, what are we doing wrong? Why don't people like what he's doing? You know, I think maybe it was inexperience or whatever.
Because there's no rule book. No one gives you a rule book and says, these are the rules. Like, if people start slagging you off, you're making enough noise that you're actually being successful. So there's no rule book. So you're like, why do these people not like me? What am I doing wrong? Like, I don't dislike them. I don't know who they are. Like, why?
And I think because it was because we was putting a lot of content out there, it was, you know, there's no consistency, there's no theme, there's nothing was measurable in terms of what would get good comments or what would get bad comments. It was just at the mercy of the social media public.
The internet.
Yeah, the internet.
But now I even put videos up deliberately to troll certain crowds, though.
Yeah, I think when you can do that, when you can get to that stage, I've got a friend called Michael Malice who was on a couple of weeks ago, and he's been on Rogan 5 times, and he is, you know, Loki from like Avengers.
Yes,
that he is Loki. for American politics and Twitter in general. And his approach is just, so he tweeted the other day, Hitler built the Berlin Wall. Trump wants to build a wall. You do the maths. Hitler didn't build the Berlin Wall,
No.
but he just like
Babe.
and the Berlin Wall trended in America because of this tweet, and it's
Genius.
like when
I
you
love
can
stuff
get
like that. I
when you
try
can
and
get yourself to that stage, I think, and you don't take yourself too seriously. That's the real sweet spot.
But I think for me, I really couldn't care less. I think that's why I'm probably the best place. But like, Danny's happy, I'm happy. Danny's doing well. I consider us both to be doing well. I think there's a quote, Brene Brown refers to it by Teddy Roosevelt, where it's like, I can't remember it word for word, but it's like, I can't remember it exactly, but it's basically saying, if you're not in the arena taking part, I don't care for your opinion. And I think for those people, unless you're someone who's value my opinion, unless you're doing something similar or, putting yourself out there or you're actually trying to achieve something great, I don't care for your opinion. So for anyone who has something to say about Danny's opinion or Danny's career, if I value their opinion, they would have come and said it directly to me and we would be having that conversation. It would be constructive. But for someone who's just posting nonsense online, I couldn't care less. It doesn't affect how much I get paid. It doesn't affect how much he gets paid. So yeah, it's not going to deter him from going out.
And now we definitely don't see it. It doesn't affect your happiness.
But I think,
and that's all that matters. Isn't it?
as a takeaway for anyone, I've been trying to push as many people that are listening as possible to go and do a project, start the business that you want, whatever it is, follow a passion that you have, because you can do it with such a low investment in terms of time and resources. The podcast I did with James from podcast.co, which I'll put in the show notes below as well, that has my full working process, from the gear I use to the filters that I have to the mastering program to the way I upload to my hosting platform, because nothing would make me happier than for someone else to go and do this. Like, the internet is a very, very big place.
And how rewarding would that be for you?
To someone else go and then be like, hey man, like, not only did you make a podcast I enjoyed, I'm now making a podcast because of you that other people. You know, like, how many people might have listened to this, hopefully today, who are like, oh, do you know what it is? Like, my DJing career was kind of a bit wishy-washy, but, Danny and Casey said, give it a fucking shot and really go after it with energy and put mixtapes out. I'm going to commit for the next 12 months. I'm going to do a mixtape a month and I'm going to go around giving it out to people or whatever the fuck it is.
I love seeing people do well, especially when they really, really, really deserve it. There's a lad who, he'll probably listen to this, to be fair, came to a DJ workshop I did 4 years ago. He was 14. You had to be 16 to go on the workshop. And his mum booked him on, didn't say anything. And I was like, it was no problem. She just said, oh, can I stay with him for the day? And I was literally like showing DJ routines and helping people do stuff. He was 4-deck mixing at 14 years old. At the start of this session, I was like, I'm going to have to make something more complicated up for this guy. And he's now just turned 18. We've kept in touch since. He's been like, he's been almost saddened, like, oh, I can't get any gigs, I can't get any opportunities. I was
You're
like,
a child.
I was like, you're
You are legally a child.
You're 16, chill out. You're 17, chill out. Now he's 18.
Just old enough to go to clubs.
I got a phone.
Finally allowed to get into the club that you want, that you're complaining you're not getting booked at. Yeah.
I got a phone call saying, I need a resident for a Friday night at this bar, blah, blah, blah. He went and did the set at this bar. He's now got 3 residencies a week and he's on 500 quid a week DJing.
18
a
years
week after
old.
he's 18.
Yeah. Making more money than 99% of 18
he
year olds.
100% would not have got that gig if it wasn't for him showing his enthusiasm, being nice, being hungry to progress and keeping in touch with me. And he didn't pest me all the time. He was just nice. Do you know what I mean? And now he's just straight away as an 18-year-old walked into 20 odd grand a year's worth of gigs.
It's the beautiful thing about networking, and this is why I am glad that my background over the last 13 years of being a nightclub promoter, it lends you toward going networking first. And the beautiful thing about networks is they're the only thing which don't share when you multiply them. That Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they don't divide, they multiply.
Yes.
Like, and you get to continue, you build out all of these different stuff. There was a guy who sent me an email like 6 months into when I started the podcast, who was a bunch of book recommendations and said, I really think that this would be a good guest and a couple of other things. And Jordan's now one of my best mates. Now he books people onto the show. He helps me source guests. George McGill sent me another one saying, hey man, I know that you like Chrome browser extensions. Here's a list of them. By the way, if you're ever in Manchester, let me know. His episodes that I ended up recording with him last year are the first and second most played ever. Bigger than Aubrey Marcus, bigger than James Clear, bigger than Robert Greene, bigger than Christoph, bigger than everything. And he's just some fella. And all it cost him was a DM. The only cost was a DM. You know, and reaching out to people like that, it can change everything.
I did that at 17. So prior to working with Danny, and like before I even got involved in nightlife, I just messaged a guy because I wanted to work at his club. And I messaged the owner just saying I wanted to learn about it. And then I got an internship in a nightclub in central London just from that message as a 17-year-old. Like, you have nothing to lose from asking. And I think just having the vulnerability to put yourself out there, like, what's the alternative?
I can't remember who it was that told me this story, but this was on another episode where there was this young American black guy who lived in quite a poor neighborhood and he wanted to work out how to be rich. Went round knocking on, just thought, I'm going to knock on the doors in the richest neighborhood in town. Second person whose door he knocked on was the acting CEO of IBM, who gave him an internship there and then. And do you know what I mean? You're like, holy fucking shit. Like, people that go out of their way and make things happen.
But how many people
will think that was lucky?
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, that was lucky, but then won't do anything about it.
So here's the thing. Taylor Pearson, who's coming on in a couple of weeks' time, and I just keep consuming his content. TaylorPearson.me for anyone that's interested. He's an absolute motherfucker. Like, I cannot believe the sort of stuff this guy puts out. And he's got this post that he's written about procrastination, which is just beautiful. And he says, the thing about procrastination is the reason we do it is because we're scared of failure. We don't undertake the thing that we want to try and do in case we might fail at it. But the weird thing about procrastination is that by trying to inoculate ourselves from failing publicly, we guarantee that we will fail privately.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe you didn't fuck up in public, but by doing nothing happened. Like, you can only benefit from doing something and taking action.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that action first approach is a really good way to go. Look, gentlemen, we made it. There we go. It's Danny T and Casey. Where should people go? They want to find out your music. They want to check out your socials.
It's Danny T DJ on everything.
SoundCloud as well. SoundCloud.
Yeah, everything's the same.
Casey, where can they hassle you? Oh, is it not?
Spotify's at It's Danny T.
Was DJ not available?
No.
Someone's gone on and taken at It's Danny T DJ.
There's actually an Australian Danny T, but we don't talk about him.
I can't do an Australian. I was going to do It's Danny T in an Australian accent, but I can't. Anyway.
He actually... No, we won't get into this.
Don't finish
We're friends now.
Now we are.
Casey, where can they get you? Are you online? Or you just get you through
Casey
Danny?
just hides away.
Do you know what? This is the
Casey don't
why I
want
do so
followers.
well. I only have Instagram and it's... What is it? I don't even know. Like, I
Casey
see social
Ben.
media as a business tool, so I'm not big proactive on it.
I'm going to send everyone there anyway. It's going to be in the show notes below.
When was your last picture? It's got to be 3-4 years ago.
2017 or 15?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've got someone else's social media to deal with, haven't you?
Yeah, it keeps me busy enough.
Yeah.
Look, gents, ladies and gentlemen, everything will be linked in the show notes below. Any questions you've got for Danny, feel free to leave them on YouTube. Like, share and subscribe. You know what to do. Danny, it's been fantastic, man. I'm looking forward to tonight.
I can't
Let's get after it. It's going to be buzzing.
And I'm going to get you drunk.
No. Bigger people than you have tried, my
I can
friend.
try.
Yeah, you can give it a crack. Thanks, man.